Hello everyone, good to see you. Well, I don't see you, you see me, right? Okay, so welcome to our question paper discussion. And before I start discussing question papers, I'd like to tell you a few things about question paper. What is the purpose of the O level exam? And I also want to talk to you about how to effectively manage your time and how to properly write answers for those examination questions, right? So before we actually write the answers, there are a few tricks that you need to master, right? So there's a bridge. Actually, I've spoken to you about this before, but there's a bridge between the notes that you study and the exam that you face, right? So O level exam, let me come onto O level exam. O level exam is not a term test, right? That is different. A term test actually tests your knowledge, like whether you have read the book, but O level exam is one step ahead of that, right? So because you have to think one step ahead. If you just read the note and think that you know everything, you go and try to answer the O level questions, it's not going to happen. Why? Because the people who make O level questions are mostly master's degree holders. So the purpose of O levels, right? O level is a competitive exam. So the purpose of making questions for O levels is to check whether you can think one step further. If you go to any subject in O levels by reading notes, right, straightforward questions or just questions based on notes are very limited, like 10%, 20%. 80% of the questions will get you to think, will try to take you on a ride, and will try to make you confused by giving you information and things like that, right? So we need to understand the basics so that we can answer those questions effectively. And there are three main reasons that we need to do past papers. The first reason is to know the structure of the paper and to improve confidence, right? So by doing past papers, you can know the structure of the paper, how the marks are awarded, and that will give you a general idea. And then you will have confidence that okay, whenever you have finished studying a lesson, by doing a paper, by doing questions related to that topic, will give you confidence, right? Will make you feel better, right? Okay, I've done the previous O level question, so I can do it, better next time. So that's a sense of confidence that doing past papers give you. And the next one is just to distinguish between your answers, right, or your notes and your answers, and to manage your time. The third one is to manage your time. So let me go on to distinguishing between the answers and the questions. That means, like I said before, the questions will try to take you on a ride, to make you confused, right? So it is actually a test that will help you to identify, let's say, water from milk, right? So separate water from milk. So that means, look, you have to identify that whether the person who has written this question, you have to step into his shoes, who has written the paper. Like, you have to think like the person who has written the paper. So O level is a competitive exam, so it's always one step ahead, that you have to think one step ahead to answer those questions. And A levels, you have to think three steps ahead. That is how the A level is designed. And O levels is a competitive exam. Everybody can take A passes if they just ask questions from the notes itself. So that is why they include questions like negative suggestion, like they say which is not a part of this, which is not a property of this, which is not a characteristic of this, questions like that, right? So sometimes you might, now we are talking about, like, separating water and milk, like that, separating and trying to understand the question. So some questions might take you on a ride, like I said, might give you different information, right? Like, let's say, irrelevant information, blah blah, things like that, right? Not to the point, and they might just include one or two words to make you understand it. right? So you need to read those questions carefully. Sometimes you might read a question and you might read halfway through it and feel like, oh, I got this, all right, I got the answer. But when you keep writing the answer, you all of a sudden feel like, okay, let's read the question again. I think got stuck somewhere, I think I got it wrong. And you go back and read the question again, and it gives you a totally different picture or totally different um, understanding, right? So then you are confused, you don't know what to do. So to avoid that, you need practice, and you need to develop your brain to think one step further, right? So, and the last point is time management. So to manage time, okay, so like I said, you have you need to know the structure of the marking scheme. Like, let's say if there's a question, you know that this part is being awarded only 1 mark. So you need not to write a full essay for that, right? So this one you need to identify and manage your time. If you try writing big essays for those questions which awards you only 1 or 2 marks, you don't have time, you won't have time to answer questions which awards more marks, like essay type questions, 5 6 marks. So you end up failing, or you end up consuming a lot of time, and you won't have enough time to answer the long questions, right? So keep in mind those things, and let's try doing past papers. Improve your confidence and time management, and try to get try to get ahead of the game. And we train ourselves to think one step ahead, right? Okay, so let's start this. And questions will be discussed through whiteboard sessions, and whenever possible I'll be uploading videos like this. I have to consider several things like your data, things like that. And also I have another lecture series coming up to teach you about memory management and studying management and time management, right? So we'll see you later. Take care. Bye bye. Hello, all right, guys. I just want to add a few more things before I move on to actual paper discussions. That is, let's learn a few things about the education system in Sri Lanka, right? So basically, the general education system, like O levels, A levels, grade 5 scholarship exams, and other competitive exams, right? Competitive means we have huge competition. Hundred thousands of people, students are writing those exams. They are studying at their own paces. They have different teachers teaching them. They have access to different resources. They are spread all over the country, and they come together and write an exam, and you don't expect that to be so easy, right? So but the education system is like exam oriented, so they want you to pass exams no matter what. They don't care how you study, they don't care how many hours you spend studying. So they don't really care, they just need you to score marks in the exam to be able to award a certificate, right? To be able to grant you A level eligibility, or grant you university entrance, right? So that is how it works. And when it comes to finding answers, when it comes to specially discussing questions, I'd say that, okay, many of the students are expecting the fish, right? So if I am teaching you how to fish, there are several things I can do. I can give you a fish, so you want to eat, you are hungry, and I can give you the fish and make you happy, right? So that is like giving the answer. I can just give you the answer and make you happy. You are really happy, you got the answer, you compare that fish with your answer, and that's how it is, right? So and also I can give you a fishing rod and teach you how to fish. I can teach you what to expect, and I can teach you how the environment will be, and I can teach you how to use the fishing rod properly, and I can also teach you how to spend very little time and catch more fish, right? So this is the purpose of modern day teaching. So that is the difference between a modern day teacher and a conventional teacher. So we always try to improve things. We always predict. For example, last year in the history paper I predicted 12 marks, right? So that means the students who were studying well, they were given with 12 marks worth of questions in those model papers and everything. So this year I am inshallah predicting for around 20 marks. So that is how I am planning to improve. So we always been thinking on how to improve things, how to get you to work, how to get you to work 2 hours and get you the results of working for 6 hours. So that is called productivity, right? So there are techniques that we constantly think and try to improve. So I can give you a fish for now, right? So that you can like satisfy your needs, satisfy and your hunger. But I'm planning to give you the fishing rod as well, and I'm trying to teach you how to fish, and how to fish and catch more fish in the you know least time possible, right? So this is the purpose of discussing the question papers especially, and also the model questions maybe. And this is basically the purpose of education, right? So trying to get maximum results with minimum effort, working hard and working smart. All right, okay, then we'll start this. See you, bye bye, take care.